Yeah, we get a little bit of VGBS preview here on the as we get her going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a wild and crazy week. Let it buffer for a second, then we can start recording. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yes, sir.
Like the upload process takes a minute to kick in.
Yeah, it says that it's uploading and live and recording now. So I think we're good.
Cool. Should we just start with it?
Sure.
Welcome to episode 135 of Video Game Bullshit. Man, it's been another crazy week, but I'm on a 4-day weekend, which has been nice, Tristan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm on a perpetual weekend, so I don't know what that's like.
Freaking crazy, man. Yeah, it's been a week. Wasn't super crazy during the week, and I actually did an NCO call on Thursday evening. I don't know if you've done an NCO call, but
Yeah. So when I hear NCO call, it's either one of two things. It's mandated by the higher ups because something happened, or it's just like it's been a while, so let's get on the same page. No, so it's the third thing.
Drinking.
Oh,
an NCO call in the military is when all the NCOs, non-commissioned officers, get together and we don't do anything to do with work and we just shoot the shit. And
man, your NCO calls are way different than ours.
Yeah, yours sounds like what you call an NCO professional development, NCO PD, where you get together and do professional development, you do training. That is not an NCO call. An NCO call is a traditional military DoD thing that is historic, and it sounds like y'all were crossing the streams.
Well, yeah. So like they in my last squadron, the 645th AESS, the Aeronautical Systems Squadron. It sounds like ass, but it's AESS, not ASS people.
So your ass squadron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 645th ass. We actually had like a kegerator in our break room. So like after commanders calls and stuff like that, because we were like a really small, tight knit little squadron. In the Air Force, it's called a green door job. So it wasn't even like on an Air Force base. It was at like a defense contractor depot where the aircraft were actually built and engineered. But yeah, like every once in a while after those like commanders calls, people would stick around, shoot the shit, and have a drink or two.
So y'all do it more often than us.
Possibly.
Yeah. Ours is like a once a quarter thing you're supposed to do, an NCO call. And we have been so busy, we haven't gotten around to one in a couple quarters. So like I was like, I am absolutely doing one. Lead up to a 4-day weekend. Definitely gotta do an NCO call. And it was fun. The irony is that I went to a couple of change of responsibilities as well on Thursday, which is a first sergeant handing over their guide on to another first sergeant. And then I realized, that I'm probably behind the power curve because one of my battle buddies that's going with me to training in Texas handed theirs over, and I'm like, why am I? I'm still in the seat.
Oh boy,
it's fun. But yeah. Work has been a thing. Tomorrow I'm gonna meet with an artist, and so I got because I got tomorrow off too, and I have an interview too, which will be interesting to do.
Yeah, it's funny, but like now that this subject came up of NCO calls, I feel like putting someone on blast. I don't do that often.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's fun. There's 0% chance she's ever going to hear or listen to this podcast. But in the event that she is, the worst person I've ever worked for, and when I think of NCO calls, she was the one who called the one that's very memorable to me. It's this Senior Master Sergeant Pool Knight, Pool-Knight, hyphenated name.
Okay.
Worst
Sounds
person
like
I've ever worked for
a
in my
video game.
entire life.
Like Shovel
Yeah.
Knight, and you got Pool Knight.
Yeah, worst person I've ever worked for in my entire career. I was constantly fighting an uphill battle against her stupidity.
Reign of tyranny.
Yes, it was a very much reign of tyranny. But I was running one shift, and flight line maintenance. You live and die by like metrics, right? Like flyability rates and just all sorts of rates. So like if something takes off late, that's a knock against whatever. And the maintenance commander, like the 06 full bird colonel, is looking at all these rates, and they're never good enough. So I get into an argument with Pool Knight, heated discussion, we'll call it, not an argument, but she made the mistake of asking me one time about, sorry, this is turned into therapy hour. But anyway, she asked me one time if there's something that she can do for us. And she happened to be in charge of some personnel who were in charge of like crypto for us. So if something went amiss on the plane when we're trying to launch an aircraft, her people, it was her priority to get them to PT instead of supporting the mission.
Yeah.
So I pointed that out to her. But of course, she just took a defensive stance and told me that our rates are good enough, Jeff. Our rates are good enough.
Gosh darn it, you're just good enough.
Yeah. So, Pool Knight, wherever you are out there, you suck. And we'll just leave it at that.
The poolest night of all nights. Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Interesting story.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, NCO calls are chill for us.
Like, no, not for us. I've never been to an NCO call. that wasn't like for a reason, like you guys are fucking up or something like that, Yeah,
it sounds like you had a lot of toxic leaders.
Yeah, we did. It was kind of terrible.
That's craziness. Yeah, no, we had
not
a good time.
All of them. Not all of them. We had some good leaders, so I won't say everyone, but yeah.
Oh boy, had a good time.
I digress.
Also catching up on Taji 100, so I'm still getting after my 100 miles in the month of February. I'm currently at 80 miles on the 18th of February, so I'm about halfway through the month, and I'm at 80 miles already. So been running and walking the dog a lot. So Gizmo's been getting lots of walks all around the place.
Very nice.
He's been got a lot of feedback now. Got loud. Whenever you just move.
Let me do that. Is that better?
I don't know. It was just interesting.
Okay.
I was like,
sorry about that.
The other thing that we did on Friday, my wife Andrea wanted to go up to North Shore, and we're still dealing with my daughter like getting into confrontations in school. So went around to a couple schools, and then went to North Shore, and Andrea wanted me to try Giovanni's shrimp truck, which is apparently a legendary best shrimp truck on the island.
Ooh.
And
whereabouts is that one? Because I've been to a shrimp truck that was supposed to be someone recommended to me to go to. Giovanni's doesn't sound familiar, but that may have been the one that I went to. I don't know.
So the area they went to, it's in North Shore. On the way up, and you go into this little parking lot, and they ask you if you're local or not, and I am, so I got to park for free. But then there was 4 shrimp trucks there. Giovanni's is one, and have a bunch of like graffiti on the truck and everything. And yeah, either way though, went over there, I didn't go spicy. I went to the most popular, which is like a garlic shrimp. It's all shell in though, so you gotta you get all messy while you do it. But it was good. It was very garlicky.
That's how you know it's fresh, brother.
It was delicious and garlicky. And it's just funny because we're sitting there on a table, and this chicken like jumps up onto my table and like looks right at me, like right here, like right in front of me, and I'm like, get out of here! Like, what are you doing? And then like when you go to throw your trash away, there's trash chickens sitting at the top, like pecking at your leftovers, your rice or whatever you have
My
extra of
gosh,
your
man.
shells. Like those chickens were going crazy. It was hilarious.
Have you ever heard of an island called Diego Garcia, or maybe been there? No? Okay. There are chickens everywhere, kind of like that. They're just attacking you, waiting for you to drop some sort of crumbs. Like it was on.
Everywhere I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we drove a little bit further, and Andrea wanted to try a taco place. It was like surfing salsa or something, which was pretty good. Like I got some chips and salsa there. That's fine. But like, yeah, that's all we did. We went to North Shore and ate food, man.
It's funny, man. You got like all these island adventure stories, and I went to IHOP yesterday. Yeah, exotic.
Well, like here, they had to close Outback Steakhouses on island because they're just not making money, and they gave the employees 2 days notice.
Crazy, dude.
They just dropped it. They just dropped it. I was like, it's crazy.
Wow.
I think today we're going to the Lookout for either lunch or dinner. I don't know, but like the Lookout's cool because it's this place called Waikai, and you can like rent like these on water islands with drinks, and you can canoe out to them and paddle boat and pedal board as well. But the Lookout is cool because it literally looks out, but not on the ocean, but on this outdoor enclosed surfing area that has constant waves, and then people go there and they can practice surfing and shit. And it is wild, like crazy stuff. Like I would never try to do that, and I can surf okay. I would never try to do that stuff. That stuff looks very intimidating. Very intimidating. Might go do that today though, because it's like it's 80 degrees here every day, so we're just gonna go outside.
Yeah, so you got warm water. Like I grew up in Northern California with like you better have a wetsuit, man, because it's cold and freezing and miserable and overcast and.
Well, I
still miss
have
the beach, though.
I do have a wetsuit top though, and that's just for the beatings of the water on you as you're surfing.
Sure.
That's because I am a weak mainlander. So that's the thing that you can see. Like I wear t-shirts a lot because even here it's like very light on the top.
Oh, I don't want to show you my farmer tan.
Well, you're up in Nebraska, so
that's right. Yeah, I'm in the Midwest, man.
Exactly. Freaking craziness, dude. So what do you got going on? Anything crazy, or what do you got?
So, but before last week, like the only travel that I had, like set in stone was I was going to go to Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee in April. Still going to go, but now as of this week, I've locked down my travel for the Game On Gaming Expo in Phoenix, Arizona. I've never been there before.
Who said you were going to that?
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, Game On is going to be a blast. I've always wanted to go to that show. How many years has that been going on now? Like
4 or 5, maybe a little bit more.
I was thinking so, but
I was at first year.
Gosh, is it a huge show now?
So John Lester runs at Games 31. Good dude, known him forever. I've been on his show a lot. We did Game Talk. But like he concentrates every year at bringing in like notable names. Like he'll have in like the voice of Princess Peach or Mario or Master Chief. Or like
freaking David Hayter's the voice of Solid Snake is going to be there this year. I'm super excited about that one.
David Hayter's going to be there. David Wise is going to be there, which is the musician who worked on Donkey Kong Country and a lot of other Rareware games. And of course the Mortal Kombat buddies. That's how I met them the first time. And so like John always brings in cool stuff. He goes above and beyond. I know like we're doing a convention exclusive from Premium Edition Games, so we'll be somewhere near the front. I think we got a table for you and I to put some books up too. So I got some books shipping over. And then I know Josh has to send out all the books that he has too, because I don't have like my Switch books and I don't have your console collector's field guide. So Josh and Sheena need to ship out a little bit. Apparently can't ship out a 70-pound box like he did last year to Scott's buddy. A 70-pound box, dude.
And I bet, given their track record of what kind of boxes they send out to, it was probably falling apart by the time it got there.
Dude,
a 70-pound box.
Crazy.
Gosh.
But but if anybody listening is out in the Phoenix area or wants to go to Game on Expo, it's a great time. We'll be there hanging out. And you know, I always tell everybody, prepare your liver. You don't drink, Tristan, so just prepare your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna be out late at night, hanging and perusing and meeting people, meeting artists, meeting musicians.
Mm-hmm.
It's every night's a late night, man, and we usually walk the town too. So after the convention, usually we walk from the convention over to Cobra Arcade Bar, and they have an after party, and we all hang out and have a good time too. So it's and there's
awesome.
there's food trucks out there. It's cool shit. Like
cannot wait, man.
It's cool.
Cannot
shit,
wait.
But that's usually my biggest recommendation for conventions is a lot of people that like go to conventions a lot. They'll like go to bed early or go disappear to the hotel real fast. And it's like, dude, do all of the things. There are people out there. We're all hanging out. If there's an after party, which there is at these, like go hang out, go to the hotel bar and just shoot the shit with people. Like otherwise, if we just go to our room, like I'm just going to do that at home. Like I'm like, why am I?
Oh no, I totally agree. Like, and I really have to fight every one of my like antisocial tendencies whenever I come out, because I'm not an extrovert. I'm not an introvert either. I'm somewhere in the middle. But like, especially whenever we go to these conventions, and it's a really long day of standing on the concrete, and your feet are just killing you. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to actually just like meet and greet with people, and where you can't really do that because you're concentrating on selling stuff the entire day. So, yeah, it's going to be a blast, man.
We do have a panel as well. Don't know what time yet. Originally, before you were coming out, I was doing the panel with Nintendo, so it might be the three of us now. And we're talking video game preservation, where physical media is evolving to now that physical media is no longer being carried at a Best Buy, a Walmart, Target, as it moves away from big box retail, and how Premium Edition Games has already been doing it because already predicted it a long time ago.
Yeah.
like it's a very interesting piece. And Nintendo is one of the programmers, designers, I would say more so, of Carl, which is a game that we are publishing physically for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. So good dude to have on, and we'll probably be hanging out with Drew as well after convention and get some food. It's gonna be fun times, man.
Yeah, I've already got a lot of food recommendations from Eric, who used to live out there, but I'm sure Scott, you know, he's got tons of recommendations too. He used to live there. Exactly. Not to mention the Gamester is from there, so we won't have a lack of food or options to go and keep ourselves occupied. I know that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be getting out Wednesday super early. That's when Scott's getting out there too, so we're just going to go out there to hang out. Load-ins Thursday, which for us is super simple. We just get everything in the place, and then we just schmooze and chat, and then Friday it starts. So it should be a lot easier for us if we pace ourselves.
Yeah, the Verbo that I ended up getting, the people seem pretty chill, just like the one that we got at Portland that one time. So, I mean, we might even be able to send books to those guys if they're okay with it, just so that they're like waiting for us, you know.
So I already, for the ones that are in the warehouse, they're already going over to Scott.
Oh, okay.
His buddy.
Never mind then.
But all the other ones, if there's anything else you got to send out, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I got to get some of my console book out. So
I just think like us trying to get that stuff to the convention.
Yeah, true story. I'm gonna have my freaking Pelican cases in tow. So, but still, that's some heavy stuff.
Yep.
Where's Scott's buddy? Near the convention, I take it.
I think he's going to be selling at the convention.
Oh, I got you.
But I don't know if Scott is going to have a vehicle or whatever. I don't know. Freaking craziness, though. But either way, though, Game On's going to be a blast. It's the only convention that I right now have on my schedule this whole year. So if anybody's been wanting to hang out, get the I Survived premium patch, like, that is your way to do it, man. That is your way to do it. Because it is a thing. I survived.
Well, actually, I mean, you're going to a second one if I bring a cardboard cutout or maybe like an iPad with like we could just like FaceTime you like rolling around at MGC if you want to.
Yeah.
Come meet and greet with Jeff Wittenhagen.
It's craziness. If it wasn't like, if it was the next week after Game On, I would probably just go.
But yeah, it's like a month after, and like you would have to go back to the island, and
no, it's like 2 weeks, and I'm spending a week in Disney. So like, if I would have been spend the week in Disney, I would have flowed right over. But it's like a week in between, and I'm still working. And now if I get to do my change of responsibility early, maybe I'll just say F it and go out.
Or let's see, you spend your week in Disney and then you come out to Nebraska and then you drive up to MGC with me. I don't know what would possess you to spend a week in Nebraska, but
partying. I don't know. No, I mean, in reality, I would do that if I can do my change of responsibility before Game On, which is a possibility, which means I won't be the first sergeant anymore, which means then I could take a couple weeks of leave. I have use or lose leave. I have like 20 days use or lose, which means that's beyond. I haven't taken any leave in the last year.
You crazy people with use or lose leave. I never once in my career had use or lose. Like, I think I came close to having it, but I never like went over that threshold. I like time off way too much.
I mean, once I've been in charge, it's
that's the thing. Like, when you're in charge, you just have no choice sometimes, and that's
can't really. Well, it's the leave tax is what I call it. So if I go on leave, I have to put in late nights when I get back as leave because certain stuff inherently won't get done or I only do. So then I got to put in extra hours because I took time off. So usually it's easier for me to just work. And I would take off time though if Andrea wanted to do something, like I would for sure. But like really, she's been in between working and not working or doing other stuff. So she just doesn't want to go out all the time. So we just go on the weekends. So I mean, we're in paradise. Like we can always hang out. Like
true story.
It's not. And the thing is,
hey, let's go on vacation. Oh, wait a second. Let's just step outside. We're in freaking Hawaii.
Well, the other thing is that like I also enjoy the military. So that's why I stayed in. I wouldn't have stayed in if I didn't like it. So like it's also like it's not like it's hurts me to work. Like it's easy. I'm like close to retirement at this point, which would be nice to do, but it's not hard either for me because I get it. I know what I'm doing most of the time. Yeah. Fun stuff though, man. Dude. So is there anything in the freaking news right now? Because
it's been a really slow week as far as I know. I mean, there were a couple things like last week that we didn't mention, like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth like state of play thing that PlayStation put on. But other than that, like Xbox is in the news hugely.
Well, like I know with Final Fantasy VII from last episode, we had talked about it. You cannot use your old save.
Yes. Yeah.
I found that, and I'm like, okay, so you
that
get like,
sucks.
I think if you have the original Final Fantasy VII remake save, you get a summon. And then if you have the interlude, intergrade, whatever it is, you get another summon. And so I went downstairs. I do not have the better version, the one that's not $400 freaking online. I don't have that. So
insane, man.
Yeah, and I don't know if I downloaded it or have the DLC though. So that's the one thing I don't know. But I don't have the physical for sure. But either way, though, you get a couple of summons because I think what they said is they wanted you to be able to focus on enjoying the game, and people can jump right into this game without having to play the original. So,
I mean, that's kind of cool that they gave you at least something. They like extended something to you, so that it wasn't a complete waste of time. Not that it was a waste of time. It was a really good game, but like to spend like, you know, dozens upon dozens of hours and then like it doesn't transfer over, that kind of sucks. I would be like, there's no way that they didn't look into it. So it must have been like really a difficult thing to be able to transfer over like what you've previously done. So I can see why.
Yeah, especially with generations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see where you start at too. Because I spent a lot of time just like doing all the things in the original before the DLC came out.
Yeah, brother, we are 10, 11 days away from this game launch, where I got to get a lot of stuff done. I got to get the book done with your edits, which is something I was going to mention.
Some a-hole.
No. So there's a devil on my shoulder, me saying you've done enough, and I'm ready to be done with this book. And then there's the Jeff Skynet on my shoulder.
I sent you Skynet. I literally typed in, should Tristan finish his books? And I gotta read this. Because this is what Skynet sent us, and it was hilarious because I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? You're like, damn it. It says this is whether Tristan should not do all the edits that there were hundreds of edits. It said, certainly that's one perspective. However, considering the significant investment of years in creating these books, it's strongly advisable to allocate a bit more time to ensure the cleanliness and quality of all the images in your book. This attention to detail is crucial to present your work in the best possible light and maintain a high standard of professionalism. Skynet has spoken.
Jeff, you know what sucks about that AI generated response? Dude, you're a good enough writer that you could have written that. So I was convinced that you wrote that. I'm like, oh, I'm ashamed now. That's funny, man.
Certainly, that's one perspective, Tristan.
That's hilarious.
I just wanted to see what Skynet said, and it was
good.
Skynet agrees.
It was good. Yeah, and I can't argue with that. Yeah, there's no way you can argue with that unless you're a lazy person, and I'm not a lazy person. So it's just like admitting defeat.
So, and then the other piece was, and I wanted to do it live, is there is one more scope creep thing we can do with the book.
Oh no, you never even mentioned that.
I didn't tell you.
What was it?
This is something I learned year one editing, and it's what the original book printer would send me. Is all these images are low resolution. I'm like, how the hell are you doing this? Because they're not going line by line looking at the imagery. And why I go line by line is because I would rather see what is usable and what needs to be updated. When I'm talking like updating imagery, it's more so anything that might have look like it has artifacting, which could also be the way that the book was saved. It might have mislinked an image, et cetera, et cetera. But what you can do is you can go into the properties of the layers where all of the links are, and you can sort it by size. And then you can see all the sizes that look like tiny amounts of kilobytes that need to be replaced, that aren't high resolution enough in the current DPI that you need. Yeah, it is a damn nightmare, and you got to go one by one. And when you have thousands and thousands of images per book,
22,000 images across 4 books,
you would have to. It would probably be close to 1,000 images that might not meet that threshold of DPI.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, you could sort by DPI, man. It's ridiculous. And some of this stuff in your book, Tristan, it's the only image that exists.
Yeah, and I took your advice, and I put that disclaimer at the beginning in my forward saying that like we did all we could to find the best images we could, and sometimes it's just not good, whatever. But my ultimate like F you if you don't like my book is like not going that far, but I said, if you're not satisfied with my work, then by all means make a better one.
Yeah, that's messed up.
It's funny though.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But that's always the classic though. But yeah, so you went off on a so you got to do that, and
I got to do that, and then I'm I'm working on manuals. Which, oh my gosh, I'm so I ran with that idea that I had for Anichard instead of doing an art book. And I guess can I just say it here? Like, people are going to find out anyway what I did. Instead of making an art book, instead of making a mini strategy guide or a comic book like we typically do with our retro releases, Anichard has a cooking component inside of the game where you cook food based on ingredients, and then it gives you stat boosts and stuff like that for whenever you go into the dungeons. I made a cookbook based on all of the recipes, all 17 recipes that are in the game. So you can actually cook step-by-step instructions with all of the ingredients, everything.
And now when he pitched that to me, I thought, oh, cool, it's going to be how to do it in the game. Oh, no, this is how to cook in real life.
Yes.
How to make the stuff.
This is a cookbook.
In real life. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, man. Hilarious.
It turned out really good. I mean, it looks like freaking Betty Crocker's or something.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And all that you have to get done before Final Fantasy VII comes out.
Yeah,
that's
the hope.
Scale it back to the.
I got the cookbook done, but I've still got to finish up Anichard's manual and then a couple other things. So
nice.
I'm still on pace. I like you. If it's fun and I'm focused, then I work fast. It's whenever it becomes.
I pop around between my 3 projects, so because my 3 book projects is Switch Year 3, Complete Genesis, and Metroidvania 2. Metroidvania 2, I actually finished a whole section of templating out all of the reviews I've written. So I write the reviews, and then I make sure it flows good and looks cool on the layout. Also, I do have something really cool to show off. Really fucking cool to show off. The mock-up of the next cover. Check this out. So this is Metroidvania Volume 2. Obviously, Sophia from Blaster Master Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
2 of the orbs from Time Spinner. Cannon from Zero Mission, and then you got a classic sword, which that sword is Hyper Light Drifter, actually.
Okay.
The Hyper Light Drifter sword, which goes into
that's freaking cool looking.
Yep.
Who did that artwork on that one?
Same as the first one. Nick Huddleston did the first Volume 1. As long as he's available, I'd like him to do the and he likes to do these art pieces, so I would like him to do the pieces. And then I should have a mock-up from Thor for the slipcase too, as I finish these up, because I'm gonna lay out all the stuff and then I'm gonna go to Kickstarter with it, which is crazy. But yeah, so that is people that watch us on YouTube get to see what the art looks like, which is pretty cool. And that's a little preview. That's first. I just got that yesterday. And it looks rad, dude. So it's gonna have a theme for each book of zine that we're doing for the Metroidvanias. And then I am still working on the retail sections right now for Switch. I've pivoted over to the Japanese only games, which I don't know if I'm going to do the Japanese non-English games going forward in future years. I might or I might not. I'll have to think about it, because it was a stretch goal for year 1, and I kept it going.
Yeah. So how many in year 1? How many or did you do all of them that were English friendly or whatever?
No, all the English friendly are in there. The stretch goal was to do all the non-English friendly in a separate section
non-English friendly
to cover every game released. And it gets year 3 is a lot.
That's hairy, bro.
4 or 5, year 4 or 5 might be unattainable. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. basically I'll probably make it after year 3 when I do the Kickstarter backer survey. I'll ask a survey and be like, do I maintain this? It's going to it adds a lot. It adds like probably a month or 2 of time.
Well, it adds a lot of work, and yeah, that's actually a pretty smart choice to ask backers, because if it's not something that they're really looking for in your product, if it's not really adding any quality of life to the product, then why bother if it's that much work?
I'm not doing the limited editions, which is another, because there's limited editions for all these. A lot of them are visual novels, and all the visual novels have like 2 or 3 editions in Japan, and I'm not doing all that. That's too much work, and it's also not really publicized too well. It's not curated anywhere. And so that probably makes it the most interesting part, by the way. But
true, that from a preservation standpoint, I mean, you're doing a service.
But on the other side, I don't collect any of that. If it's not English friendly, and not English friendly, but playable even without knowing Japanese, then I'm probably not going to collect it for myself. So it makes it less interesting for me personally. But I also I finished a section in the Complete Genesis yesterday. I finished the bullshit sports game section, which is literally going, and it's like box art screenshot, all the stuff for every single game, including how many players there are, and developer and publisher. And the developer and publisher the developer portions is not curated real well. So it required a lot of research. Because it's like, oh, Accolade is the publisher and developer, and it's like, it's not really Accolade, it's Tier Tech, or it's High Score Productions, or like who did the, and it really, like, there's multiple websites that all say something different. So Sega Retro is going to be my default 90% of the time, unless it just doesn't seem right. Like Sega Retro is who I'm going to give credit in my book to.
Yeah, Sega Retro is an awesome repository.
Yeah. That'll be typically who I'm using as a source for a lot of that. Because Nintendo Age was always my source for the first 2 Nintendo and Super Nintendo books. Sega Age is gone, but wasn't as curated. But I did get all the information originally from Sega Age. It's just not perfect. And so Sega Age went the way of the Nintendo Age realm. So it's not. But either way, though, that means that all I have left now is, because I have all the licensed Genesis games done, US. I have now all the bullshit sports. So now I got to do PAL exclusives, and then I go to Japanese, and then I go to home. Like, I'm still going, man. This book is going to take a while.
Yeah, dude.
And I haven't written the PAL exclusives yet, so I got to do a lot of writing again. So I get to do some writing again, which is good.
Yeah, and selfishly, I love that you're working on this stuff too, because I mean, I've got like quite the video game book library on my shelves, and always adding another Wittenhagen book is a good thing to have.
Dude, this one was
thoroughly done.
This one was insane, and I mean, I was training at the Drill Sergeant Academy when I originally templated out the Genesis book. And now that was when I just became an E7. Now I'm about to become an E9 in the Army. Like 2 giant senior enlisted ranks that I've went through. And I'm still working on the damn Genesis book. That's where it's like, do I go PlayStation or do I go Turbo? I'm probably going to go Turbo because that's more of a package.
Oh, dude, definitely do Turbo.
Yeah.
Definitely do Turbo.
But it's like, it's everything. I'm going all of the
things. Oh, yeah, dude.
Japanese, everything. It's going to be way more fun to do. Also, if you think about it, like, then if I have a certain someone replace all the imagery with high resolution, then I have them as well.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, I have so many repositories of imagery that I've taken pictures of. Some of the times, though, sometimes there was not a image that was resourced from a source that I could get, and I had to take the pictures myself.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing whenever I was doing my console book. Like I even bought like a light box so that I could like buy the console, set it all up, take professional pictures, and then crop out the background and put it in my book. And yeah, dude, like the struggle is real for us because it's not always readily available. So we have to take it upon ourselves to like do the manual labor.
Well, and there's some stuff that, like, I know in the aftermarket section in your volume 4 of your book, you didn't have imagery. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure like Christian Dietering has those games. at his house. He could probably take a picture for you real quick. And just go,
well, he's actually the one who sent me all that stuff. So if it's not in there, then there was a reason for it. But now that you mention it, we'll probably re-engage just in case.
And having
like Mario Kart R, I think was one of them.
Well, I have a picture of that one.
Okay, because I'll need that.
But it's not. It doesn't have because that was Time Walk, right? It doesn't have the Time Walk logo on it. It has the original logo, what they did at the very beginning, because I think Mario Kart R was one of the first ones. But I just have an image. Like, it's not anything great. It's not anything high resolution.
No, that's why something's better than nothing, right? So
exactly. But that's the thing, though, is that like a lot of these aftermarket guys, they went from doing one standard to another standard. I know Fishy Face uses the Fishy Face logo, but sometimes they didn't. And so it's always fun though. Like, book talk is crazy. We're probably boring the hell out of now.
Screw
that's why they come here. They come here for the book talk, man. They come here for the book talk, man. No, it's but that's the creation though. The art of creation is fun with that. That was all. We're just talking about news. We went into book shit, project updates.
Well, you mentioned the whole like sometimes you can't get the image that you need, and that actually reminds me. I was able to tie up a loose end this week that I've been working on for years, literal years, because one of the sections is the Watara Supervision, which is think of it as a Wish.com Game Boy. It had some decent games. It was just like kind of a knockoff Game Boy system with a dot matrix screen and everything.
Yeah, the screen was okay.
The artwork for like the blister packs, Moby Games was the only repository that I could find that had really, really nice scans of those cards. However, Moby Games on their FAQ page, their frequently asked questions, said that if you need to use more than 20 images, then you need to ask permission. Yep. Well, I asked permission like years ago. I sent them an email, never got a response. So, in this day and age, everyone's on Discord. So I found them on Discord. I sent the main guy a direct message, explained myself. Somewhere along the line, it got lost in his DMs. Like, it just into his junk mail. So he didn't look at it. But then I contacted another mod who kind of poked him. He's like, hey, check your DM. So someone's trying to get a hold of you. So finally, he saw my DM and approved the request. So as long as I attribute it to them, which of course I will, then I can use their stuff. And that was the only loose end that I had in my book. So I'm super stoked. Like,
it's good news though.
That's great news. I would have hated to have to leave that out.
Well, and since we're at project updates, the complete NES books backers have now started to get their books.
Yeah, I've been seeing pictures, and dude, is that foil hologram?
Maybe.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, I want that.
It's so cool.
Yes.
And that's the thing, though, is that it has a holographical aspect to it. But a lot of people were tagging me, which is awesome. If you backed it and didn't get something correct, like one backer contacted me and goes, hey, man, I got 2 books. I think I just didn't put the number 2 in it when I uploaded the spreadsheet to the warehouse. So I just sent him another one. But it's crazy though, because I can't ship everything from Hawaii, so I have to use a warehouse to ship all my stuff. It caused a bit of a problem, Tristan.
Yeah.
Nothing got shipped correctly. And so for example, they're not being shipped like media or whatever it is that you can ship books. So instead of costing like $10, which is what I charged backers for things, one that went from Chicago to Portland cost $60 for one book. And
that is absurd.
I have an open query with them to fix it because everything is tagged. It's supposed to all ship the current way. And then so far nothing. So everything should show up immaculately, because I will absolutely do a claim if something doesn't show up for a backer and they get it damaged. I will claim
for sure, man.
Because they had, and now that is going to cost thousands of dollars that I don't have from the campaign. from like a year ago. So
Yeah.
that's fun. But it is what it is.
Well, yeah, you got to make it right, unfortunately. So
And in the past, like they have reimbursed me the difference because it's their mess up, and it's 100% their mess up to ship it all expensively when they're supposed to do media mail.
yeah.
But I mean, if media mail though, things could show up damaged if they don't package it up correctly, which then I'll ship a backer another copy of a book, which is not a problem. But it's worth that for the thousands and thousands of dollars that the UPS will charge, which is insane because they go weight based, man. And my books are heavy; they're like 5-6 pounds a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I went over 500 pages with the complete NES. Like that
I feel your pain.
That foil hologram right there.
Yeah.
It's shining right there. It is.
I'll be picking up one of those. Make sure you bring one of them with you to the convention because I'll need to buy one from you.
Yeah, sure. Like either that or just buy it online.
I'll do that too. There you go.
Because I mean, I'm only able to send a couple books to the convention, so
that's true.
Now, if it's available at the end of the convention, which I don't think so.
Probably not.
My NES book has never stayed on a table, ever at a convention. Like it's wild. That has been my most requested book to reprint for years, and I got a bunch now. Freaking crazy, dude. So back over to news though. I actually did find this was a week of hunting down things, and I found things from either YouTube channels or Facebook posts. And I found 2 games I didn't know exist that are really interesting from a retro gaming perspective. Number 1, there is a Bloodborne Demake. It's called Bloodborne PSX.
Oh, yes. I have heard of this.
Yeah, and we've never talked about this. So essentially, this works on my Steam Deck, which is really cool. It takes Bloodborne, it makes it like stupid PlayStation controls. It can add all of the bells and whistles that you had to make it look like an older game. So it like removes bells and whistles to make it look retro. And you run through. It's almost like you're playing Nightmare Creatures. Honestly, that's what it really feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean PSX, obviously. Oh gosh, I said PSX.
You did.
Such a sin for me.
Even put it in your book as lecturing people. You did it. Shame.
The PS1, PlayStation 1, it has a very distinct feel, obviously. Like polygonal graphics, tank controls. Is that what you're talking about whenever you said that they demade the controls? Is it tank controls?
Well, it's not really tanky, but it is. But it also, you can't just use the right stick for camera. You have to like press L and R to spin the camera, which sucks. But that's an old school PlayStation mentality.
Sure.
Before you had analog sticks. Yeah. But it plays well. It looks cool. I definitely want to try it out and mess around with it a little bit more. But it's a bit, PlayStation 1 style.
So it sounds like they finished the demake because they've been working on it for a minute. I know that, but
I don't know if it's finished. It plays.
Yeah.
There's enemies. It's playable.
I don't know about you, but I've never been a Bloodborne Souls like Elden Ring that sort of fan. I'm not a masochist, so
I'm not good enough at it. However, the 1 week I was able to play Elden Ring last year when I was still in Georgia, where my wife was in school, I was able to play it for a week when she wasn't on the PS5, and I played the hell out of it. I enjoyed Elden Ring a lot. The other one I really liked was Sekiro, which is like the Japanese version. I didn't even know that was a Souls-like because I went through and beat the first boss and everything, and then I found out it's a Souls-like. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to die. I haven't even died yet. That's really weird.
Sekiro, something dies twice. I can't remember what dies twice, but something dies twice.
But those I enjoy the thought of them. I don't have the time to get good because it's just nature of the beast with projects and work right now. Maybe once I'm, retired from the military, I'll have some time to just like pencil in like long gaming sessions. And I mean, Tears of the Kingdom last year proved like when I want to make time, I will.
Yeah.
But like priorities are priorities too.
Dude, and I was just thinking about this. Tears of the Kingdom is like if I jumped into that game right now, it would be like if I didn't even like miss a beat. That game was so good, and there's still so much content that I haven't done. Like I could probably like dive right back into and get lost into it again. It was that good.
I think I only stopped because it was just like there was no end in sight. Because I mean I had beaten the game already, but like it was more like, oh, I'm just gonna go continue to explore and get all the seeds and
I didn't. I got all the light roots and stuff like that, but I didn't do all the shrines.
I was closer to all the shrines than the light roots, but I was like I was splunking, I was doing all the stuff. I just did it little by little, and I hadn't even scratched the surface, ironically, of the up in the sky. I hadn't really done the sky at all. Like I literally just did the ground and the underground.
It's fun. So good, man.
It's just, but the thing is that like that is, so I will make exceptions, but like when it comes to infinite games out there, and there literally are infinite games, I'll do it when I want to do it.
Yeah, I call those, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be one of those games. I like to call them life-consuming games. And boy, you got to be choosy about those, especially when you have a lot of work on your plate. So,
well, I remember last time Final Fantasy VII Remake, Andrea allowed me to play it, and I would play it on the TV, and I was allowed to jump in. But it's normally like the PS5 is always running with streaming shows and stuff.
Oh, I see.
So I was allowed to. Whereas I did play, I still want to play 16. Final Fantasy 16 is awesome. It's badass.
I'll probably end up doing like I did with 15. 15, I didn't even play until like 3 or 4 years after it was out.
I still had no interest in 15. I played it a little bit. No, it ain't that. But 16 is fucking awesome. Like it feels like an epic Game of Thrones, old school.
It does, dude. The combat, I've seen a lot of streamers play it. The combat really looks intimidating on the surface.
They got baby mode, man. You can add these little charms where it allows you to. Yeah, I used baby mode the whole time. It's like because like you got these little charms and it helps you with the combos and shit, so you don't got to worry about it. So then you can just play like Final Fantasy 7. It feels like Final Fantasy 7 the way that I had it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was badass. It was badass.
Yeah, and I mean, like there was an accessibility mode on Final Fantasy VII Remake that was like there was an easy mode and there was a harder mode. I played on the easy mode. I just wanted to enjoy myself.
I want to say I played on the normal mode or whatever. I didn't do the easy mode. I did not do the easy mode for 7.
I think they called it like classic and something else, and I played on the classic mode.
Oh. Yeah. So I'll have to look and see what I did. I don't remember. I don't think I did. I didn't do the easy mode. I know that.
But I'm like your wife is somewhat of a gamer, yeah. I mean, she plays games on her own.
Grand Theft Auto, Animal Crossing, Dreamlight Valley, Sims, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Those are her games.
Yeah, for me, my wife, not a gamer at all. I will never ever in my life find her playing a video game. On her own. Like, I'm not going to come down to the basement. She's not going to have like PS5 on playing a game. But she loves to watch me play epic games like Tears of the Kingdom or Final Fantasy VII or like, anything like that. So this is going to be another one of those cases where she's going to like enjoy the hell out of watching me play. So I'm looking forward to that aspect too, because as someone who's not a gamer, she just enjoys the movie aspect of these kind of epic games. So,
yeah. Well, and I mean, I didn't buy it yet, but Mario vs. Donkey Kong came out. So, so I haven't bought it yet, though. And then the other piece of news, the other thing that I found, besides for the Bloodborne PSX Demake, is there is a spiritual successor / sequel / 3D demake of Celeste that is out there.
Really?
There is, and it's created by them. and it's a Mario 64 style, so Celeste.
Oh,
64.
interesting.
Yeah.
So that kind of a 3D.
And it's for free on itch.io, and it plays on Steam Deck, and it's literally 3D Celeste, and it plays exactly how you would think it should play. And
Wow.
I die a lot because I'm misjudging my jumps right now, but it's really, really freaking cool. And like if that was released on N64 back in the day, like that would have been an epic game because it does everything right. And it's funny too, is because you got to get the goal is to get all of the strawberries as you're going, and when you get it, it does almost like when Mario got the star in Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
Like it does like a little tune. And this is after Celeste is over, where she's back over on the mountain just exploring around, and there's actually story to it and everything. So it's actually like a canon almost. It feels canon.
Well, that's neat.
Like, really cool though. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever like actually release it as, you know, an official game.
Well, I mean, it is a game per se. They might put it on Steam. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, you said it's on itch.io already, so
exactly.
It's already out there.
I mean, that's something where you know, as we begin to create big box releases at premium, maybe that's stuff that we reach out to and be like, hey, can we license or do a physical version of Celeste 64 just to make a fun packaging and do a manual and everything?
That'd be super cool.
Stuff like that, I think, would be rad. Same thing with Bloodborne PSX. Like if whoever that one, I don't know if it's done by the developers, whereas Celeste is. So if it's done by the developers, I think that is a really cool thing to do.
Should reach out and get Pal World.
Pal World.
No, not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Well, that one's hilarious too because it's not. Everybody's like, oh, it's taken from Pokemon, all this. Like, so did Digimon. So what? Like,
oh, yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just funny.
But I don't, like, you know, like Nintendo, I don't want that Eye of Sauron on us.
No, definitely not.
So kind of litigious.
So with the pickups this week, I only got one thing, and it is where the talk me out of it Tristan failed me. It's great. It's something that I got in the mail, and it finally came in. It is this big sucker.
Is that what I think it is?
This is the Duo analog.
Yes.
Duo. So I got the Japanese version, which is the white one, so it looks like my Dual R, which is why I got it. Now, why is this a horrible buy for me right now in 2024, Tristan, in Hawaii?
Because your entire collection is not in Hawaii.
Correct. Now I have no way to play. I have no games to play on this thing.
Yeah.
It's ironic. I don't know, and I have to check if I've gotten in any aftermarket homebrew games since I've been out here for the Turbo Graphics or Turbo Duo, or because like the CD games usually is what comes out. I don't think I have. So yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I've gotten is Saturn Dracula X. Outside of that, like I don't. So yeah, I have nothing to play, so this sucker is going to stay sealed.
But it's so pretty to look at.
And my scope creep of Analog Duo, ironically, because they added the FPGA core on the Analog Pocket for it, is that I have the repository, all the games that I wanted to play on the PC Engine CD and the Turbo CD, and none of those games worked. So I got to now troubleshoot, like, okay, how do I get them to work? Did I just download the wrong file type? And can I convert what I have, or do I have to do all that again? I don't really want to do that again. So, yeah.
I was just talking to someone yesterday at, I can't go an episode without saying Ben's Game Zone.
Ben's Game Zone.
Yeah. So I was at Ben's Game Zone yesterday, and somebody said that they got their Analog Pocket adapter for the TurboGrafx in the mail. I didn't realize that they were shipping those out, so that means that mine should be on its way to me.
I want to say I already have all my adapters, like back in the day, unless something wasn't made yet.
The Neo Geo Pocket Color one wasn't made yet. That one was delayed.
Because I bought all of them initially, but I've moved
Mm-hmm.
so many times that Analog's probably going to ship it to like 2 addresses ago at this point. I'll just have
Oh
to
boy,
contact them.
yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, I don't have this. I haven't lived there in years, people. It's also why like I see all these cool ass games coming out, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I really want to get Hawk from Super Rare Games that sold out apparently in 30 minutes. By the way, the whole game sold out in 30 minutes on Super Rare.
Okay.
I was like, that's freaking awesome. Congrats, Super Rare. I would love to own that, but I'm gonna move in like a couple months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're in this weird place where like that by the time something comes out, it's you're going to be chasing like your new mailing address. It's so annoying.
Well, and it's while I stopped promoting and stopped supporting Limited Run when they did the whole thing with their social media manager and everything. Also, though, like things that I pre-order take 2 years, and I'm going to move 2 times in 2 years, so I'm not going to pre-order anything. I'll buy it from a website, an aftermarket, a third party, a Ben's Game Zone. I will buy it from another company later, and I might have to pay extra, ironically, but I can't do any pre-orders for anything that doesn't ship within like less than a year. So like premium, we ship within a year. Super Rare does ship pretty fast. So I would have probably gotten that one, but I was at work and it was sold out while I was at work. So
yeah.
There was another that just reminded me because like I backed the Kickstarter a couple years ago. Did you back Ayuden Chronicles? The spiritual successor to Suikoden, basically.
I think I did.
Okay. They put out a Kickstarter update, and man, I really wish I would have confirmed this before we went on the podcast, because I hate saying something like this if it's not true. So please forgive me if I'm wrong or if I'm getting bad intel. But the director passed away.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's sad. But I think, the game was far enough along that it's probably not going to affect it coming out that much. First and foremost, I feel for him and his family and anyone, who's dealing with that loss.
It's crazy.
But it's video game news, and that's a Kickstarter that's been out there for a few years now. And anytime like there's a disruption like that, that's just something that's noteworthy. So
yeah. And I was looking on the feed. I don't see it at the top of the feed. I don't know if maybe I didn't back it. Maybe I just followed it. There's a bunch of projects too that I'll follow because I backed hundreds of projects.
Yeah.
And it's just some of them I do. I got a code in for a game this week. I think it was Lords of Exile. Got a code in the mail for. I also noticed another game that came up for pre-order. I want to say it was Pix and Love, maybe. I could be wrong. But Astabros and Demons of Astaborg have a combo pack now. Physical release for Switch coming, which I think is rad. Astabros is awesome. It's a Sega Genesis roguelike Metroidvania. Like it's really, really, really cool. And so that getting physical preservation, it already had individual, but now it's getting a double pack. Which again leads to last week where we were talking about should games be preserved multiple times when they're already preserved?
Yeah. Debatable. Absolutely debatable.
Exactly.
Before last week, I didn't know that that Annapurna collection actually sold out. I'm pretty surprised at that price point that it did. But maybe it's just I underestimated the popularity of that their games. Just crazy.
Well, and there's
like
also
it's like a 10 pack on Switch. That's kind of insane.
Well, the other piece is sometimes if it's a low amount, like people just buy it to resell.
Yeah.
So what did you get in?
What did I get in? Oh, yeah. I did say that I got one. It was a very slow week. And this was one that I learned about while doing my book. I had no idea that this even existed. But I'm a huge fan of Left 4 Dead. I didn't know that there was a Game of the Year edition on the Xbox 360. So this came in at Ben's Game Zone on Wednesday, and I picked it up.
Well, and that actually could lead ourselves to an episode in the future where we talk about it. The Game of the Year edition conundrum, where do you want to have the original version of Left 4 Dead, or do you want to have the Game of the Year where it actually has everything when all the servers are gone? You can't download the updates anymore.
That's exactly right.
So it is a interesting piece because that really didn't start until much, much later. But there are examples of games that had updates on a cartridge, non-promoted. So
yeah,
there are games that have a better version later. I mean, hell, even Super Mario World had a better version released later where it had a different sprite for Luigi. Because
I did not know this.
The sprites were mirrored in the original Super Mario World. If you play the Super Mario World Mario All-Stars double pack that came with the Super Nintendo console, that version has a different sprite for Luigi.
Wow.
So technically it's a better version, an upgraded version of the game. You get Luigi DLC on it.
Here's a little fun fact. I've got a little fun factoid kind of like that. There was a different version of Japanese Tetris on the Game Boy that had a different, it was either A-type or C-type music. But
the iconic one is missing from the Japanese one. Yes, the better music is is the classics. Yeah, the that one's missing from the one I used all the time when I played freaking Game Boy Tetris.
Yeah.
What's wild is NES Tetris keeps on getting beaten now that somebody hit the kill screen.
Yeah, dude, I was just watching that stuff too.
We talked about it. Now that somebody's hitting the kill screen, now one of the classic gamers, so there's Dog and Andy, brothers. Dog is the champion. Andy's his brother. Never beat Dog except for like one time now.
But Andy just smashed the record.
And what he did with the record was unattainable. So essentially, once you get to the high speeds, once you get over level 20, it's like near impossible to play. But with their new techniques, they can actually play and manipulate and move the pieces fast. And they're freaking genius kids. But he scored more Tetrises in the later levels than has been thought possible. And even in the ultimate levels, he is getting Tetrises. And so I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch his ass. Like, nobody's going to be able to touch him because he got like 8 or 9 million points versus a 6. Like, he's crushed the record to the point where that is going to stay there until somebody gets lucky at this point. Because like the way he works. And the thing is, he still may not win the Tetris World Championships, which is freaking crazy. And the reason
his brother is his kryptonite.
Well, no, it ain't even that, man. The Tetris World Championships is a different beast than playing for world records and playing for competition play. It is a competition, which means it's knockout, which means you need to perform on stage. So, the fact is I was, one of the commentators for one of the most viral years that the Tetris World Championships had.
Boom,
and
Tetris for Jeff.
And the thing is that like Jonah, who would win every year, wasn't necessarily the top seeded competitor every year, but he would crush people in competition. He kept cool under pressure, and he was an expert player all the time. He was overall the best player in Tetris consistently, versus these other guys can jump in, and like Andy will jump in and do this awesome ass freaking play. But how many times did he play to get to that one? He probably played a lot of times to get to that one. Whereas his brother, his Dog, is more consistent at competition play. And yes, he'll get beat because Andy beat Dog in one of the ones finally too.
One time.
But on the other side, it is really cool to see all of these different aspects of competition. And I'm tracking that Portland will no longer have the World Championships.
What?
It's going to SoCal Gaming Expo in the summer.
What?
I mean,
That's sad.
Sad, but it makes sense because Vince, who runs it, and Steve DeLuca, who help facilitate it, all live in Cali. Everybody lives in Cali. So like they literally can just run it where they're at. It's probably a lot better.
Gotcha.
Cost. And it'll be in the summer, which would be fun. Summertime, SoCal, fun. Yeah, so
dirty Los Angeles.
I don't know what dirty Los Angeles. Oh, you're doing sports ball things. Oh,
dang straight. That's right. Always. Always.
I wear
dirty Los Angeles. Stupid Dodgers.
EA sports ball, Tristan.
Yeah, well.
I'm not from California. I'm from Chicago, and the teams typically suck.
It's okay. It's a rivalry that goes back for a century, and it's hit a fever pitch because the Dodgers have done something in the offseason that have upset baseball and are probably going to change the rules to free agency. But I digress. This is not a sports podcast.
Yay, sports ball.
Unless we talk about Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, which was awesome.
Yay, sports ball. I'll play NBA Jam because you can do on fire, flip to flips, and play as the combat characters.
He's on fire.
Yeah, I'll play that. I ain't gonna. Yeah, I'm not much of a sports ball player.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, even when we watched the Super Bowl, we watched it for the commercials, and we chose the team that had the better entrance music because they came. They did not win, but they came out to Metallica. Yeah, not the Chiefs. The Chiefs came out to an old chant, which was hilarious.
I hate that so much.
Oh, I don't care. Like people could have fun, man. Because if you hate on other people, man, you're going to disillusion them because they're a fan of them. Now every single LA fan hates you now, Tristan, and they're going to stop watching.
And that's okay. That's fine.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Tristan.
Okay.
You don't have to have a blind faith to a sports team where they make $1 million.
No, I'm not.
Where you disillusion.
I'm a hardcore fan. Yeah, but I'm not going to alienate anybody. I've got friends that are Dodgers fans, so we can get along, people. We can get along. I just want world peace, Jeff. I just want world peace.
You can't when there's competitive sports out there.
True.
We just go back to murdering people, and we just go back to ancient Spartan times, and everybody dies.
Oh yeah, like the Aztecs, and
exactly.
Where the winner or loser gets sacrificed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just all murders and stuff.
Why would you play sports at that point?
You don't.
My gosh.
You wouldn't play sports. The actual sport is murder. You just kill each other.
Yeah.
Let's go back to olden times, man. Let's go back to olden times.
We need Smash TV is what we need.
Exactly. So, have you been playing anything besides for our homework this week? Did you play anything crazy?
Only stuff that I can't talk about because it's like testing.
Well,
but, there were a couple of really cool ones. Like
we'll talk about some of the testicles.
Yeah, I won't talk specifics, but there was an RPG with a really cool gimmick, and you know what I'm talking about. The combat was super cool. I really liked the story. You saw my write up on Trello. But,
that was a funny one because sometimes on our team they only get so many codes, and I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't get one. Yeah,
I was like, I'll go with Tristan's review.
I saw that. Yeah,
I was like,
no, I really liked it.
That's cool.
I really, really enjoyed that one. I'm
forward.
hoping we end up getting that.
And then the other one that you didn't quite dig, I actually didn't mind, but it's because it's a game with roguelike aesthetics, and you get to choose your character class at the beginning, and it has like action RPG elements, which was cool as shit. That could be like any one of 1,000 games, by the way. But I played my first build, and I was like, oh, this game sucks. Like, I get what Tristan's saying. But then they have these like daily and weekly challenges. So I went to the daily challenge.
Oh, that's true. I never tried that.
And when I went to the daily challenge, it gave me a character that had like these claws, and I was going through and I was leveling up and I was having fun. And I was like, oh, okay, this is fun now. Because the first one, I was like, I don't like this at all. I kept dying. It sucked. I leveled up a bunch of times. I got a bunch of extra gear, magic, all this cool shit. And I was like, okay, this has something. So I actually gave it an extra point, a grade points because of that. So
Okay.
yeah,
that's fair. And actually, like one of my criticisms was that the UI was really difficult to navigate with the controller.
Still is.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
wasn't the UI that I had an issue with because that was fine. Don't give a shit. It was more so one of the attack buttons I had to touch the screen to activate. It didn't put it to a button. So like you get like these magic powers or these abilities, and they're all like you get like 2, 3, 4, and you can buy them and progress them and upgrade them. But you can't just hit a button to do the damn ability, and you can't press a button like on the top like you would toggle between the abilities like you would in any other game. You have to go and like touch it, and then it brings up a field of view, and then you can use it. And so that's why like my first build was a magic summoner build, and when I summoned the characters, I would have to do that every time, and it was annoying as shit.
yeah.
It was the same thing with the moving around. If you use the analog stick to move around, you have to tap the A button to move around.
Yeah, which is what I did. Yeah.
But if you use the D-pad, you just run around.
Oh.
So that was much better. And then I think Barry was saying they flip-flopped that on the Switch or messed it up on the Switch.
Yeah, so
like that.
yeah, and Barry actually like he gave me a Switch code, so I'm gonna check it out and kind of like compare, and I'm gonna give it a second chance. But
well, and one thing I've noticed is that Barry will play a game, not put any comments, and then argue every single issue that any of us ever have, just to be an a-hole about it. So I'm like, I ain't gonna test anything if he's just gonna get a river in Egypt and be in denial or be defensive on the stuff, because I'm like,
he's been pretty good. To be fair, he's been pretty good. Maybe it's just you, Jeff. Maybe he just wants to argue with you.
maybe
he hasn't done that too much with me.
Yeah, as I guess I don't argue enough on there, so he just wants somebody to argue with or whatever. And no,
we love you, Barry. We love you.
It's so funny. I don't care enough to argue on anything. I'm just putting my comments in, and it was
you can't argue with someone's opinion.
And it ain't just me. It ain't just me, because he'll go on tangents with Ryan, and it's hilarious because like you aren't going to change our minds, Barry. And like he'll go and try to change Ryan's mind on him liking a game. He's like, dude, I fucking hate it. Oh, well, no, dude, I hate it. Oh, but that's that. No, dude, I hate it. Like he kept like Ryan keeps on doing it, and it's hilarious. And it's like I just eat my popcorn and watch. And when he tries doing it with me, I'm like, no, dude, I don't care. like it don't work, guy. Like so I did play a game, and I blame you for it.
And
I got obsessed with it, and it started yesterday. I downloaded and finally put on my Steam Deck Picross 3D round 2.
Yeah, nice. Very cool.
Round 2 is a little different because it adds 2 colors now. There's a blue and an orange, and the orange color will take pieces and make some weird shapes. So like the blue is like solid squares, which the first game, if I recall correctly, was all squares. Like it was all pixelated looking Picross stuff. Now it does it'll do like corners, circles, orbs, like other types of things. And so you're basically doing double Picross on the game.
Yeah.
But I'm playing the hell out of it. I think I'm in level 16. And like that's 16, not 16 boards, 16 levels of boards. So I played the shit out of it all night while I'm sitting there. And it's interesting too, because when you play on the Steam Deck, you're using the 3DS emulator. And so it's a single screen. And the emulator, I make the touch screen because that's where you see all of the Picross stuff. I make that large, and I have a small one of the main screen. You can tap the trackpad, and it'll swap them if I need to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the game's all touch screen. It's a whole touch game, and you rotate it with your finger or the mouse, but the finger. And then you just hold the D-pad to mark the colors that you need to mark, the blue or the orange, and then or smash them with the hammer. It's very, very good. And then you can also mark ones, like you can mark safe ones like you do in Picross, but now you have to do it ×2. So this is like a mastery level of freaking mental games and mental agility games. But I've been enjoying the shit out of it. It doesn't seem like there's a time limit when you play. You do get rewards based on how fast and how little mistakes you make. And then there'll be like a whole level where they're all time based, or there's a level of like different puzzles. So it'd be like, all right, it gives you a line of ones and they got 2 blue blocks. What's your next move? And you got to figure out what your next move is. And so really cool. I enjoyed the first 3D Picross. I don't know if I ever fully beat the first 3D Picross. So if I go and finish and beat this one, maybe I'll go back and emulate the first one, since I don't have my games here for the 3DS. I have a 3DS. I don't have Picross here.
Gotcha.
And so I can play it. But either way, I blame you. Is fun.
Well, I know that I brought up Picross, but it was someone in the chat that brought up Picross 3.2,
I know.
which reminded me that I needed to
We
check
have a chat.
Actually,
Chat.
Jesse actually said that we caught him on his delivery, but
Nice.
he's still losing sleep to Vampire Survivors. He said that about a half hour ago. Sorry about that, buddy.
Hey, let's give Jesse a hint on something. When you do the spring, when you watch the spring direct for premium, you're welcome. Because I'm telling you, something that we're going to announce is obsessed me with more time than Vampire Survivors has, and I'm like, you sons of bitches. Like, it's so good. You're welcome, Jesse. There's your hints, man. There's your hints.
You're funny, man.
Freaking cool. Yeah, we got anything else popping in the chat right now, or is it?
No, he just said he's doing the dishes now.
People saying hey and what's up?
Yep.
Yeah. Jesse's a good one because he was part of our Secret Santa, which was fun.
Heck yeah. It was
a good one. And anytime I go around and I see Pogs, I post that over in somewhere. Where I think he hits me up. It's either Discord or Facebook, but I hit him up and I'm like, hey, I found more Pogs. So shall we jump into the game of the episode?
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice. So this one was a game that Tristan wanted us to check out, basically, and try to compare it to Contra. And the game is Midnight Resistance. I'll lay the wallpaper. I was getting it ready. Midnight Resistance is a side-scrolling run-and-gun game produced by Data East and released in the arcades in 1989. Midnight Resistance is set in a dystopian future where the player controls a member of a resistance movement who goes on a mission to rescue his kidnapped family from a drug kingpin. The version that Tristan wanted us to play was for the Sega Genesis. However, I played both the Sega Genesis and the arcade version.
Me too. I did too.
And I will give you feedback on how well it did not do on Steam Deck. But I played the Genesis version on the Analog Pocket, which caused another hashtag scope creep from Tristan. I appreciate it, Tristan, my scope creep, because I did not have all the Sega Genesis games on my Analog Pocket. So then I went down a giant scope creep of every single Genesis game. So I could get Midnight Resistance on there.
Yeah.
And
a worthy game.
It was ported to the Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis in 1991. And it was Daddy's first game for that console, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool. So what is your experience with the Resistance of the Midnight?
So Midnight Resistance, and I'll go back to my first exposure to it. It was one of the games that I would sit there and watch the attract mode a lot of times, and occasionally my mom would like kick me a quarter or whatever whenever she was doing grocery shopping. That was one of the arcade machines right next to Rolling Thunder and a Neo Geo cabinet and Road Blasters. But anyway, yeah, there was just like a small section in our Safeway grocery store of some arcade machines, and I remember Midnight Resistance being one of those. And I loved like run and guns, because I Contra was out. It was awesome. Like, but Midnight Resistance I thought was so cool because you like collected the keys and then like you go to that armory and you can like unlock and get like stuff to like upgrade for the next level.
And I totally didn't realize that the keys are what unlock the armory. I thought it was a points-based thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd show up to like the armory and I'm like, I can't get anything. What the hell? I like killed a lot of things. And
yeah,
I'm like, really?
Yeah. So where I didn't remember is the Genesis version's a lot different than the arcade version, and that's just because of the controls. I mean, like, yeah, the porting isn't 1-to-1 either. I was disappointed to see that like they didn't transfer over like the voices. So like whenever you like go into the armory, it's like choose your weapon in the arcade, but it doesn't say anything in the Genesis.
No.
But like just like heavy barrel, I'm gonna read from this. Like it does a good job of describing the controls. Like heavy barrel, the rotating joystick mechanic couldn't quite be translated to consoles. So this port offers two options. There's no way to fire your gun manually. Instead, you simply press A to turn on auto fire or off.
Which I like.
Yeah, which is cool. But holding B lets you lock your fire in a specific direction, which gets a little confusing at times. Like especially when there's a lot of stuff on screen. On the other setting, pressing B will rotate your aiming clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the subsetting you choose in the option menu. Which is it's terrible.
That reminds me of the shoot 'em up where you're the two characters in it's not Fortified Zone. It's one of those for the NES. It's NES shoot 'em up where you're the flying characters and you just rotate your freaking shots.
I hate that. I hate that too.
I actually didn't mind the controls with the auto fire and then the lock in position. I'm used to the lock in position from Super Metroid.
Sure.
And so I could do it pretty fast, pretty accurately. Ironically, the coin ops that I have on the Steam Deck for Midnight Resistance, the arcade, the rotating controls freaking suck and they don't work.
Yeah.
Like on the arcade.
Oh no.
So I'll hit the button and it'll randomly change it to a different spot, not 1-to-1 where I'm pressing. So I would sit there and I could get through the shit. Why could I get through the shit? Because the infinite continues. But I got to the point with all the gears later where you're fighting the multiple gear section, and I just stopped playing. It was just annoying because I couldn't concentrate my fire. So
I know what gears section you're talking about. Like that's brutal if you can.
Near the end too.
Yes,
I was right before they showed my family getting captured. But
I've got a comment about that.
But the controls on the Genesis I thought were great. And it really does feel like Contra to me from a playing it on the Genesis for the first time in many years. Like I don't remember playing it as a kid and just dying, but knowing that it was on me and that I could get better.
Yeah.
And I could carve through. Like I feel like if we had infinite time and we were going to make this like a game that we would just play for a week solid without any other distractors, like you and I would have like been able to get through, master the shit out of this thing and play like co-op.
One credit clear or whatever.
Yeah, like we could have easily, like it feels like one of those games which is very on par with Contra.
So what was your favorite weapon?
I want to say, let me think about which one I really liked, because like there's like the little spread one, right?
Yeah, the spread shot is always a favorite. Like,
and it was
so awesome.
Cool. I want to say there was something else that was more like laser focused.
It was the flamethrower.
Yeah, I liked that one a lot just because it had more of a focused shot. But there was another one that was just like overpowered that I used too. A blue, I think blue.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I forgot about Midnight Resistance is that like there's a power up that you can get that can supercharge
That's the one.
any one of your weapons that you already have. So like it'll make your spread bullets like super huge. It'll make your flamethrower super huge. It'll make it just like overpowers like whatever you've got. And once you die, you lose that supercharge, which sucks. But at the time, man, it's freaking awesome to have. And I totally forgot about that. Like I love that aspect of it. If Contra had something like that, oh buddy.
I did note in my notes that I did get to the 3rd level on the Sega Genesis one, whereas I got all the way to the gears on the arcade one. And I just stopped because and I just watched a video after that because it's an arcade game. It's right before the bad guy kidnapped my family, and then there's a battleship, and the end boss looks like Jason X, which is hilarious. I mean, the controls were. If the controls worked, it would have been so much cooler. And I bet if I could tinker with the controls, or if it like maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's how coin ops on the is set up on the Steam Deck versus if I played it on a Raspberry Pi or something, it might be perfect. But like I could see though, if it had good controls, man, that shit would be great.
The other my favorite boss has got to be that squadron of fighter jets that like it streaks across the sky, then like it's so cool though. Like you kill some of them, and then like whatever's left will streak across the sky again. Like what a cool touch I thought that was.
Well, why I say it was so annoying is because my control sucked.
Oh, yeah.
So like I'm sitting there and they're coming by and I'm like, I hit a button. I hit a button to shoot up and all of a sudden I'm shooting down. And so then I got to shoot it to lock it in place. I'm like, all right, don't touch the button. And then I'm like attacking. And so I like literally was having, but I got really good at dodging, like not taking damage because of that.
Yeah.
Because I had to only shoot one way. So I would basically carve away at every enemy and every boss's health. It was freaking insane. So what were you going to say about the family, by the way?
Yeah, okay. So that's my last comment about this game, and I thought it was hilarious. I totally forgot about it, but at the very end of the game, like right after you see them, like like hanging from some sort of restraints or whatever, you go into what is the armory. This is like right before the boss fight, and if you don't have 6 keys, you can't rescue all of them. Like, that's so messed up.
That's freaking crazy. And they all give you all too.
Yeah, they turn into guns.
Kill your family. Bye, mom. Bye, dad. Like, they're all
dead. Oh, no, I only have 4 keys, and there's 6 people I have to save. Who do I leave behind? Like, gosh damn.
It's freaking crazy, dude. So where do you put this game on a scale of grading that we do here at VGBS? Because
I give it, it's not in A territory by any means. I would give it a B minus B. It's a solid B probably, and that's just because the soundtrack isn't that memorable. It's your like standard Sega Genesis soundtrack, right? With FM synth and everything.
I think it slams like the Genesis soundtrack.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. Like you listen to that thing with headphones on, man, with the bass going.
Yeah, with headphones it'd be different.
Oh yeah. Now the soundtrack for the arcade is not memorable as much because it doesn't hit. Like the Genesis version of it is so much better, which is what we'll be using for this episode on the podcast that you'll hear at the beginning. Yep. You'll definitely hear the intro at the beginning, and then there'll be another one at the end of the episode on the podcast version of this. Yeah, for sure. Like
I played it on my Laser Active.
Nice. So I will absolutely give the Genesis version a B. The port that I had on CoinOps, it's like a C+C because the controls sucked. Maybe even a D for the controls. Yeah. But if I can probably go in there and modify it, so that's just me being just plug and play. But yeah, it's a B title because we played this for the Genesis. So I definitely give it a B for sure. Yeah, it's cool. It's comparable to Contra, man. I love it. I'm glad that we knocked it out for the podcast.
Well, yeah, not a lot of people know about this game. That's the surprising part about Midnight Resistance. It's like,
Freaking wild, dude.
people love Contra, people love those run and guns, and that one, what you said, it came out in '91. It was ported to the Genesis. Yeah, if you didn't see it in the arcade, there's a good chance that you missed this title.
Exactly, and the thing is that freaking wild, dude. It is wild. Now, did you play Cyberlip?
I didn't. I did not play
Okay.
Cyberlip. No.
That is why I went into Coinopsis, so I could play Cyberlip
Okay.
as well. And because you wanted to play other games that were,
I could have easily booted that up on my MVS too. I'm kicking myself for not doing that.
You could have, Tristan.
Yeah.
But Cyberlip, I just took a couple quick notes because I just wanted to do it from a comparatory standpoint. That is my own word. But Cyberlip, you can only shoot left and right, so there's no diagonals. But what's really cool about it is, obviously the game is designed with that in mind, so there's not any cheap deaths like that you would need to shoot a diagonal for. But everything is like robots and stuff, which is really cool. Like it has a really badass aesthetic. So I would recommend that maybe in the future we play that for sure.
Yeah, let me write it down again.
Cyberlip was a cool, fun one. I just said played like Midnight or Contra, but only shoots left and right, no diagonals. Everything is about robots. But again, it's an arcade game, so we could absolutely just focus on playing it for a quick one. So for the next bullshit homework, Tristan, I think we're gonna go back and do another indie retro randomizer, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So do you want to go standard indie? Do you want to go budget? Do you want to focus on a Metroidvania? Do you want to focus on an action RPG? Because I'm going to hit the randomizer button on here and I can choose. Because as we got budget ones, we got backlog ones, and then we got Metroidvanias, and we got.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's been a minute since we played. I know we've done a lot of Metroidvanias, but dude, we love them.
Okay.
So yeah, let's do a regular Metroidvania.
So in the Metroidvanias, there's 195 titles I have on my Steam. So I'm going to hit the button and see what comes in. If it sounds like something that's good, we'll select it. If it is something that might be harder to get or not, you know what I mean? Then
reroll or whatever.
Or we've already played it for the podcast. Because
sure,
I do have Metroidvanias that we've already played. So first one. Devil's Dive. Let's look up Devil's Dive. Devil's Dive. I gotta look it up too. So basically, when we do this for the listeners, we want to just make sure that we don't run into something that
won't be entertaining.
Exactly. Devil's Dive is a budget Metroidvania. It's $4 on Steam. It's made by 1984 Pixels and was released in 2023. It is absolutely retro style, and it looks like you do a lot of diving, like going underground. It's very retro aesthetic looking with neons and stuff.
Okay.
And there is, let me see, the reviews are overall positive, and it's a roguelite Metroidvania, hellish roguelite that wears his inspirations on his sleeve and smashes them all together. Introduces twin stick action. The game takes the downwheel core and introduces twin stick action for unique combat encounters, multiple biomes, end of area bosses, challenge rooms, combo based loot system, unlockable weapons and mechanics, and soft weapon augments and upgrades. So, are we going to do Devil's Dive?
I'm on the fence. I'm looking at this right now on Steam, and
yeah. So and this is where we're even on the podcast, we'll talk about what we see with it. And I mean, it looks like some beautiful pixel art, a very dark black aesthetic because you're diving underground.
Yeah.
And now, obviously,
it almost reminds me of besides the beautiful part of it,
downwell.
But if you're looking at the boss fights, it's kind of like ZX Spectrum graphics.
Okay. Now I'm not watching videos. I'm just looking at So
sure.
I say if we were contemplating that much, let's re-roll.
Yeah, let's re-roll.
Let's re-roll. The next one, let me see. I am doing it. Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
I'm saying, like, they all pop up. I would say let's not do a long Castlevania game. Let's go a little more indie. Here's one. I have never played it. It is about a 3.5 hour time play. Gato Roboto.
Gato Roboto.
Gato Roboto. Got a physical on Switch for sure.
That sounds cool, actually.
It is $8 on Steam. And it was released by Devolver Digital, which means it got a special reserve physical release.
I'm digging it.
And it has black and white aesthetics. You mentioned ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
Black and white aesthetics.
Yeah. Another one.
So, but this one's straight up Metroidvania from what I'm tracking.
And you're a cat robot.
You're a freaking cat dad robot. To like? So I think we got our game. We're gonna play Gato Roboto. See, and that's the thing though, for everybody who's been, with VGBS during this new era, is that we will, test things out, but we'll also talk about it before it, just in case. So if we don't go to Devil's Dive, we're gonna go Gato Roboto. Ironically, Devil's Dive was compared to Downwell, which is also released by Devolver Digital. So this Gato Roboto is ironically, another game that's right in there with this. So
too funny, man.
Should be fun. And then what I do here is I will add to BS homework. That way I add it to the bullshit homework, because I have a whole bullshit homework section in my Steam Deck of games that we've played on the bullshit homework. Because in the future we may do like a small mini book on it, on bullshit homework, and then maybe continually add to it, or who knows. So do we have anything else for the episode? I think we're hitting.
I think we kind of squared it off, man.
Squared it off. Heck yeah. It's gonna be fun to play Gato Roboto. Definitely. I do want to get back to Convergence as well, so maybe we'll do that one as like a pick later. Maybe maybe not next week, but maybe in a few weeks. Because Gato Roboto, this would be a good appetizer. Should be able to get it done in a few hours, because then when Final Fantasy hits, I mean, it's gonna hit. It's gonna slap.
Yeah, get ready, buddy.
Exactly. Might be interesting to do Mario versus Donkey Kong, but I haven't bought it yet. So, I mean,
yeah.
And then I gotta go down another rabbit hole, Tristan, of stuff like this Bomb Rush Cyberfunk that I got last week, where I'm pretty sure Bomb Rush Cyberfunk takes up a lot of space, because I also have it on deck. And so I gotta like uninstall games that I have physicals of that take up a lot of space, so I can make more space for new games. Because there are tons and tons and tons of games that come out on sale all the time. It is insane. But that's why I like the idea of bullshit homework. That's why I like doing what we do on the podcast, because it gives us a time to play games that we may never get to in our lifetime. We may never.
Exactly. And I mean, we're already well-rounded gamers as it is. Being book authors and stuff like that just comes with the territory. But like you said, it's stuff that we might never have touched or even heard about. So what's not to love about that?
Now I got to put aside Picross 3D round 2, play Gato Roboto. But I'll definitely knock out some Gato Roboto. I might also have it on physical. I don't know if I brought it with me or not.
Oh, wow.
Because in here, I put in some of my Metroidvanias in here. And I have Ender Lilies and games like that, and Ori and After Image and Elder Souls and all that, which not in here in the premium edition games bookcase. But then also in here, I have it all alphabetically, which Gato would be with an A. So actually this was G, but this is the end of G. So that's not it. But it's interesting to see if I might just have Gato Roboto in here, and it'd be funny. Then I'll play it on Switch versus Steam Deck.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be even crazier. I do not have Gato Roboto in here. Huh. Interesting. So maybe I just didn't. I have Downwell though. the episode where we continually go back to Downwell. But so follow us along for Gato Roboto as we play it for the bullshit homework next time. And I do know that we will be having Metroidvania Chronicles Phase 2 going up for Kickstarter probably in the next month or so. I'm finishing up. As I get in, so now that I got in a cover mock-up, I can make a mock-up cover for the actual book cover version. And then the slipcase, I should have a mock-up. So once I have all that, then I can get the Kickstarter ready, because the book's already done. I'm finishing up the last 60 pages or so, and then because it's a 200-page book, which is insane that I'm doing a bookazine series that are 200-page books. That's freaking crazy, by the way. And then I have a 4th series that that's going to start up along with the Complete and the Switch collector and the Metroidvanias, because there's a whole other series of books that I did in the past and people have been asking for a second version. That's Hidden Gaming Gems. So if I bookazine it and do Indie Gaming Gems, which is literally what we do, boom. And so I could cover games that we've covered on Video Game Bullshit. Maybe put the bullshit stamp of approval. Bullshit stamp. We need to create a bullshit stamp of approval.
Bullshit stamp. I love it.
We need the bullshit stamp of approval, Tristan. I don't know what that looks like, but we need one. But yeah, so where can people find your individual versions of the Video Game Collectors Guides?
Yeah, so right now, the book that I'm finishing up, if you actually want an individualized list, say you're a Dreamcast collector, or a Genesis collector, or a PlayStation 1 collector, and you don't want the rest of them, well, you can buy them a la carte on VGCollectorguide.com. They are all individually priced. I make them here in my office in notebook style. They look, great. So I think it's something you can actually mark in. Yeah, as a collector, it's something you can actually mark in.
As opposed to full page style, right?
I did. It's full page, yeah.
Which is cool, because then you literally have little notebooks that you could take with you when you go to conventions. It's something you can toss in your backpack and carry, which is pretty cool. I think it's a very easy way for somebody to kind of go over their collection, which is super rad.
I had someone purchase the 3DO one last week. Nice. So 3DO collector.
And then, of course, we do have Video Game Bullshit presents the Nest Dev competition up on Hagen's Alley, which, again, Tristan makes in-house. It's at hagensalley.com. And now that the NES books have been shipped out, I will be putting up and marketing the complete NES Definitive Edition up on the website for the first time in
very nice
8 years. And
very nice.
I will have a few of the collector's editions available too, because I always print extras. And so I am going to also make a small amount of those available on the website as well, for those of you that just don't like Kickstarter, because I do have a few readers that just don't like Kickstarter, and so I always try to make a few extras for those that don't really support Kickstarter. The other piece is that Josh on our team is still working on printing the custom controllers. So we have people that backed custom complete NES controllers. Everything is with him. He's got to print them. And we're going to make our own custom controllers. There's one that is literally the Joe Simcoe art of the character blowing all the characters up, and it has the aesthetic of this cover, the gray aesthetic. And the other one is the NES Villains controller. So there are 2 different controllers that Josh will be printing for backers that backed that tier. Might be the only time that we do something like that, because it might take a while for Josh to be able to get them done. But still fun, still cool. And I ship them separately, so that way those backers don't have to wait for their books. They got all their books in. And all the digital copies have been shipped out too. So super fun, man. And then also over at Hagen's Alley, there's a slew of books. And then the Video Game Console Collector's Field Guide, the Switch Collector Volume 1, Volume 2, Part 1 and 2 are all available at premiumeditiongames.com. Hidden on that damn page somewhere, which eventually will be back at Hagen's Alley and with us, Tristan. They'll be with us eventually. And then then we could literally get them out to people and have consolidated shipping prices, which is the big thing when we have giant books that can bludgeon people to death. So, and also though, if you see us in person at Game On Expo, it is during spring break. So definitely come hang out. We'll have the books. We'll be there to sign the books. And you might be able to earn your I Survived patch if you survive with us on the weekend. It'll be fun.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Later, guys.